All right. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Welcome, welcome. First of all, let me make sure that my mic is on. Can you guys hear me good? Let me make sure. Ooh, YouTube is tripping. Alright, I'll figure that out. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm good. Let me go ahead and turn down this volume. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and get this started.
Recording in progress.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for checking out another one of my weekly and Forex analysis. I do appreciate it. Oh, that is loud. I was not ready for that to happen. But first, before I even go into my analysis, I want to just say that we are coming to the end of the year. It is the 20th. 25th is going to be next week, Saturday, right? So, as I even said last week, there's not that many people that are participating in the market when I'm talking about both on the retail trader side and even when you're talking about those who are in hedge funds or those who like big money, they're not as present in the market as they usually would be. So, although I usually say that, hey, I don't really care what the market conditions are. If I see an opportunity, I might take it. If you're going to take opportunities in the market at this time, I would say, hey, just be very mindful, be very cautious of what you're going to be getting into, because price not might not even move a lot to begin with, or things might just be a little off more than usual. That's why there's traders at this time of the year. They usually like, hey, I'm taking a break. I'm gonna be done for the year, and I'll just wait until next year, type of thing. So just wanted to at this time, there's nothing wrong with like saying, hey, I'm gonna be done with trading. For the rest of the year, I'm gonna really go and back test my strategy or back test, practice some chart work or anything like that. Focus on what your next year, your goal is going to be for next year, right? Because you don't want to just be trading without having a goal in mind. Like, yeah, we can have monthly goals or quarterly goals, but what are your goals going to be looking like for next year? What are going to be some things that you're going to be like, what percentage gain are you going to be looking for on a monthly basis that's going to make you say, okay, I'm good at this level, and once I'm consistent in this, then I'm ready to get to the next level. All those types of things, right? It's all about preparation, right? There is a couple more days left until the new year, but you don't want to start preparing for that in the new year. You want to start preparing for that now, so that when the new year gets started, you can just go in kill mode. You can even start right now. I usually say no days off or anything like that. I usually say, hey, why not today? Why not start today instead of starting tomorrow? So again, like I said, there's nothing wrong at all to say that, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and just chill. Not gonna be in the market. I'm gonna be more back testing in the back end, making sure that my strategy is refined, making sure AUD monetary policy meeting minutes and Thursday 7:30 a.m. GDP for the Canadian dollar and PCE price index for the US dollar. So that's all the news, high impact news there is for this week. So now let's go on over to the charts. So let's go ahead and see what the daily time frame, or let's go ahead and see what the dollar did last week in general. So first of all, looking at the weekly time frame, let me take off these arrows. Oops. All right, so last week, pretty bullish candle, came back to these equal highs that price had previously came to on the 22nd. On the week of the 22nd of November. So, like, basically a month later, it came back to meet those equal highs. Price came down a little bit more. going on to the daily time frame, that when price moved up there, it was a big wick to the upside. So that's something that I actually am very interested and intrigued in seeing. And then after that, price bullish engulfing. So seeing this wick, especially coming up to these equal highs, kind of making an M pattern, if you will. As long as it holds, right? As long as it holds. This might be a double top where price can continue falling to the downside. Wouldn't be necessarily a bad thing in my opinion, if that's what price did. However, this bullish engulfing candle is the only thing that got me a little stressed out. I'm like, I'm not really a big fan. Hold on. I'm not really a big fan of seeing this engulfing candle right here taking over the sellers like that. So that could be, and even the way how price climbed up really fast, that could be a signal saying, hey, or that could be price saying, hey, I'm actually going to go bullish instead of going bearish. So it's kind of iffy, but at the same time, you know, of course, if I draw a fib from this high to this low, where is price currently at? Inside my zone where I'm looking for sells on the dollar. So with me seeing this, I'm kind of torn because this happened on a Friday. You know, again, like I said at the beginning of the week, the market might be moving a little differently than it would be on a usually if price moves like this in one single day, then I'm going to be saying, oh, this might be a little too early, like this, price might be continuing to go bullish. But where price literally came and stopped up at and started to consolidate before like the market closed, it's kind of like, okay, yes, this is exactly what the market wants to do. I mean, because last week was FOMC, and more times than not, FOMC week is really setting up how the dollar is going to maneuver for like the rest of the month, type of thing. That's something that is probably what's going to be playing out here. You know, Peyton has said the same thing. Peyton was like, if FOMC is setting up the dollar the way how I think it is, then more than likely this play is going to end up pushing to the downside. You know, and I agree with that play. So, right now, it's kind of a little too early to tell because, again, price did really move up pretty fast. That's one thing that I'm kind of cautious about, is that it really did move up fast. But if the dollar is going to push to the downside, now would be the time. And if it doesn't, then more than likely it's just going to break through this zone and come up over here on the weekly supply zone that I had marked out like how many weeks ago. I said, hey, ultimately, if price is gonna end up gonna keep going bullish until it reaches this supply zone, trade, right? And I said I want to see price break out of this box either one way or another. Price broke out and then came basically right back in it, you know? So I can't ignore that price just did that to possibly say, hey, those who were trying to play the range, who sold over here, ooh, I took out your stop loss and I came right back in and I dropped, you know? The retracement that played out, that's what I was being patient for. I was waiting for it. Now I want to see this push to the downside. So we'll see what goes on. Intrigued in it. EU, like I said, I was in it, but I'm not anymore because my stop loss got hit at break even. But I mean, EU, this is my only thing. Kind of the safest play for EU, right, would be, hey, at this point, wait for the breakout, then the retracement, and then a continuation to the upside. That would be a safe play, right? But EU, we can't ignore that. I mean, this buy box that I had drawn out from these lows to this high has been getting respected this whole time that price has been moving with the DXY and all that. It's been holding, right? And it's still at this area where, I mean, from this, when I took the trade over here to when it went bullish, came back and took me out the trade, went back bullish again, came back down again. I mean, right now it's clearly playing a range, but again, like I said, the safest bet would be for you to wait for the breakout to happen and then get the retracement, of course, with the fib, and then continuation to the upside. That would be the safest bet. But this buy box, if it's still going to hold, I mean, I'm all here for the thought of, oh, this, especially with FOMC, That's exactly what my thought process is. That, oh, price came and stopped. Like, let me show you that. Let me go even closer. Price came and stopped out these equal lows. Came out a little lower than where people might have had their stop losses at, which I was one of those. Stopped me out at break even. Go bullish. Try to get those who might have got stopped out to try to buy up here. Maybe so, but that's not what happened. Get the retracement. Let me go on to the lower time, not lower time frame, but closer into price. Oops, did not mean to do that. So retracement. You see how off of this fib right here, off of this recent play, how the fib price came a little bit lower than these fibs right here. That's why I'm like, I'm not necessarily filling the buy if I'm looking at that fib. But if I'm looking from when price was at these lows and how price has just been playing the range, if I were to buy, now would be a perfect time to buy. You know, so that's just my theory behind it. But again, if price isn't gonna buy, then more than likely, and this is when I'm going on to the weekly time frame now. Then more than likely, we're going to be seeing price come down to 1.1474, right? That's where I'd be like, okay, this is the next place where my interest in buys will be. If price continues making lower lows on the weekly time frame, or not on the weekly, but actually, yeah, like on the weekly, because it would have to break that structure. And I mean, I would say this is more of a daily structure, but anyways, price would just have to break through this structure and break through these lows, come down over here to this 71% fib. Overall, this zone in general, this big zone in between 1.13038 and 1.10182 is a place where price can really make an opportunity to go bullish. Euro USD. I mean, that would mean that the US dollar would lose strength and the euro will gain strength over the US dollar, but still, you know, just based off of the fact that that price from 2001 price and high up here wrong, but it made a high at 1.60139, and I mean, just keeping it real, price did retrace back down over to the 71%, and then it's showing some good resistance here. But that's on some whole next level. Hey, if you want to play a fib like that on a weekly time frame, like over the whole picture of Euro USD in between like 1994 to now, then hey, you can try that. But what I'm just trying to see is what price is going to do inside this zone. You feel me? So overall, like I said, if I was going to buy Euro USD, it would be now. And my stop loss would just be like at 1.1800 at that point, and see what price does. If it's gonna go to the upside, that might be a good long-term buy for some people. You know, if you're gonna come up here and then take your profits at 1.13600, hey, more power to you. Whatever you want to do, but I'm still here for the buys overall. And I definitely did not look at arbitrage on the DXY. I just noticed that. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. So weekly time frame. All right, so weekly time frame still very much bullish from when I called it back in June. So and prices just stay about over there. Daily time frame, again, safest bet for the US dollar at this point would definitely be for you to make a push, get that breakout to the down, and then a continuation to the downside. You know, that would be, well, actually, I don't want it to go that low on this daily. But overall, like, this would be the safest bet on on USD. Yeah, this would be the best bet for a play on the DXY. So that's for the daily time frame. Like, nothing's really confirmed for this to start to turn around on the daily time frame. 4-hour time frame, same thing. You know, it looks like it's calling for a buy right here. I would never get into a buy, especially, in fact, why not? I'll go ahead and give us a trade idea. Okay, 70 pip stop loss. Let's see. I just want targets at this point. Okay, 1.15048 will be where my official take profits are at. And so yeah, this is a play that I'm gonna get into as soon as I get off this call. There we go. Okay, so 1 to 3.75. So basically, because I'd be nice before RB. But yeah, weekly time frame, still very much bearish. Nothing's changed on here. Price had called for this sell back in June. Daily time frame, setting up for a buy opportunity. But just like how I was saying with the DXY, what I would want to see is a breakout, a retest, and then a continuation to the upside, because price is just consolidating down here. 4-hour time frame is very messy. It's still calling for a buy, although price is all the way like below the lower danger zone. And again, I'm not gonna try to play off of any pair if price has just been consolidating like that. No way. And 1-hour time frame called for a sell, but yeah, again, right now EU, DXY, those, they're not really going to show a play off of arbitrage for me right now. Not necessarily. Especially if I want to take it to the upside. Nope. Alright, so let's go on over to AUD USD. This pair is interesting. So let me even say what I was saying last week. I didn't get into this trade, but last week I was saying, hey, there is this bull flag that AUD USD has made. If it respects here and it gives you some pretty good price action, why not take it to the upside? Definitely didn't do that. It just decided to come a little bit lower. It like drop a little bit lower, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete those because it's not needed for me. And I said, hey, price coming down to 0.70500, that would be a play I would be much more excited about, or not excited, but much more willing to play. And so I waited for that instead. Never got price to come down there, so that's unfortunate. I'm still gonna leave that there overall, but looking at this daily time frame, this kind of right here looks to me like an evening, right, where price could potentially make a push to the downside, and price came so close to the supply zone, but it didn't. So that's something I'm going to be watching for. Weekly time frame, if I'm not mistaken, I had said, hey, on the weekly time frame, if I wanted to take any sell opportunities on AUD USD, it would have to be up over here. Wait, no, it's definitely not from those highs. I think it's on the daily time frame that I found where I was looking for. Yep, it definitely is. I believe I had said right here. Something like that. Dang, my watch is blowing up. But I was saying, hey, I want to see what price is going to do. Either come up at this to this supply zone or this one up here. I said that I wanted to... Goodness gracious. My watch is going crazy. But I was saying that I wanted to see what price is going to do up over there at those levels before I decide to try to sell them. So before I try to sell AUD USD again, I said that, hey, it's dropped a pretty good amount. I want to see a retracement before I look to sell again. So right now, going in closer, I still kind of want to see price come up to the supply zone. Like, yeah, it made a pretty good move to the upside, again, FOMC, and C. And as price was dropping, there was really no volume high to this low. Price right now is currently at that 78.6 Fibonacci level, right? Like, risk that 1 to 3%, you know? This is a buy box for me personally on AUD USD. And if to 0.70500, and I'd rather just have, you know, if I'm going to get into this, my stop loss just hit right here, and then I can just wait for price to come down here and then make up for the previous loss that I did have. But at this point, I kind of have to set my alert to 0.70600. So we'll see what goes on, but I am definitely, if price is gonna hold where it's at, if the US dollar does indeed turn around where it's currently at and goes bearish, then AUD USD should definitely be a good play for a bullish move. I like this morning star that I'm starting to see here. So I'm probably gonna end up getting into this AUD USD, but I'm not going to. I don't want to call too many trades. I've already called EU. I want to see what the rest of the market looks like, and AU is not one of my favorite pairs anyway. So it's just a pair that I trade because of the US dollar. But I am definitely bullish on it right here. Let me actually do this right here. Come a little closer. Bullet, retracement, continuation. All right, and so this is the play that I'm looking at for AUD USD. I'm going to go ahead and hide this over here real quick. All right, so let's see what happens. Definitely want the buys here, but I am more than aware that the possibility of price coming down and stopping. Price came down pretty fast, but again, off of that FOMC news, I went for a sell opportunity. That would have been a nice sell opportunity. I would have definitely sold right there. But yeah, AUD USD gonna be definitely watching for it. I think maybe the 15-minute time frame might be setting up, but that's all about it. Arbitrage users. So if you want to use arbitrage users, if you want to go ahead and use like this as a confirmation for you to get in, then sure. I don't usually like using the 15-minute time frame though. But again, I do like where price is chilling at right here, right now. I do like, if it holds here, for it to continue going bullish. So that's AUD USD. Let's go on over to USD CHF. All right, so UCHF, I had mentioned last week that I was like, hey, I wanted to see what price would do if it came up to the 71% fib, if it was gonna keep consolidating like how it did, right? FOMC came, yeah, the price said sure, I'll come up over here to the 61.8 though, and after that I'm gonna drop pretty hard. So with that being said, UCHF, I'm kind of iffy on it. I'm probably not gonna look to play it, because I really did want to see it come up to at least, let me go into the daily real quick and just show it. I really did want to come and see price tap this downtrend line one more time before dropping, and if it would have touched that breakout of this this pendant right here. So until then, like I said, I'm kind of not really interested in trying to buy this right now, right? I do indeed love this. Like, looks like a shooting star to me off of that daily time frame, and then a bearish engulfing candle right after, but then a bullish Mariposa candle came right after it. Now, it didn't engulf this necessarily, but still, it's pretty like, you want to watch out for that, right? And same thing as with Euro USD and all the other USD pairs. From this fib, from this wick, from these wicks that I'm seeing, and with the wicks, there's high volume with price pushing down to the downside. I would want to see UCHF climb a little bit more, if anything, to 0.92600 basically before pushing to the downside, and my stop loss would be above this wick. And that's not necessarily like the greatest trade to me, because I would have rather wanted price to come up to 0.93200 and then drop. I would have definitely rather have wanted that. But if this is what the market is going to give, then that's what the market is going to give. But again, price did climb up pretty fast, just like with the other USD pairs, and so it could just turn around. So you want to be careful with that. But again, I am with UCHF. I'm basically bearish with it at this point. If it does come up to 0.9200 or 92600, then I am probably gonna be looking for shorting opportunities. yeah, I'll be looking for sells here. And my stop loss would be above this high, and if my stop loss does get hit, it'd be kind of irritating to me, because I would then probably suspect that price is only going to come up to, again, like 0.9300 or 93 up here at the 71% fib. Let me just call it what it is, and then possibly just drop, which then it'll be like, oh, so you just went up there to stop me out basically before falling. So it depends on what's going to happen here. I'm not really so certain if I'll get into this, but at the same time, I'm kind of seeing a head and shoulders that could be potentially playing out at the same time. So it's kind of iffy, and it's even not even a head and shoulder. It's more like a sideways head and shoulder. So yeah, I'm definitely still looking for the bears on USHF. We'll see what happens when price gets up to 0.92600. Okay, arbitrage weekly time frame. It's been holding at this upper danger zone right here for a couple weeks now. Could be a potential turning around sign, but it's been rejecting off of this RSI line as well. So it's kind of, again, same thing with this here. It's kind of iffy, this trend line that price has been moving around with, right? It had called for a buy weeks ago on the daily time frame, but again, price is consolidating, kind of iffy. It's like it's not giving me a proper direction that I want to take it with. 4-hour time frame, same thing. Prices has this upper danger zone up here. I would want it to reject this and continue falling based off of arbitrage. So it did call for a sell here, but I wouldn't have gone into the sell at all. Again, consolidating. I don't like to play off the bands. And the 1-hour time frame called for a buy up here. I would not have gone into that. And again, price is just consolidating, so it's kind of interesting to say the least. So yeah, overall, again, USHF at this point, I'm kind of just, I'm not in it. I'm not even watching it like that. Like, this is not going to be one of those pairs that I'm going to have a hawk eye on, but I'll be paying attention to it once I get my alert called. So USD Mexican pesos. So I had been saying for USD Mexican that, hey, right now price is consolidating over here. I mean, price is in a range. I'm gonna not necessarily play it. I'm gonna wait to see what it does. Price broke out to the upside, and I had this alert set over here at 20.79663, and that was from the low of 20.25845 to the high of 22.15300. Basically, the Fibonacci retracement back down, right? 71%. That's where it ended up landing at. And I was saying, hey, if USD Mexican pesos is at a place where I'm looking to buy it at, but the US dollar, I'm looking for the US dollar to sell, it's not necessarily going to be in my best interest to try to and buy USD Mexican peso, because US dollar definitely has strength. I mean, strength over the USD Mexican peso, but I would think that even during like economic news or anything like that, that it would still have strength over the peso. So with that, try to sell this. I mean, here's the thing. Like, let's say if I take Euro USD buy and then I take a USD Mexican buy, one of those pairs is going to play out for me. Not both, one of them will. Because Euro USD, usually when I'm looking for it to go bearish, if I'm looking for Euro USD to go bullish, I would want USD Mexican peso to go bearish, because Euro USD is the inverse of the DXY. But since that's not the case here, again, it's either A, I'm going to take a loss on USD Mexican pesos, or I'm going to take a loss on Euro USD. And if I play off of USD Mexican peso, this is going to be a swing. Versus if I go and try to play off of Euro USD, it's just going to, it's a swing, but it's not as large a swing as USD Mexican peso. So I'm not gonna get it. It is what it is, right? And if if my Euro USD that I'm getting into ends up selling, again, it is what it is. I've already accepted the loss because I know how much I'm risking. I'm putting on the table. So weekly time frame. I didn't even look at the weekly time frame on USD Mexican, but the weekly candlestick from yesterday, that's very much telling me that this does not want to go bullish right now. So again, that's even another sign for me to say, hey, do not take this buy right now. You don't need to necessarily take the buy. You can wait a little bit. Daily time frame. It's under here. I was saying, hey, if price does this, I'll be looking for the selling opportunity. And it hasn't quite came back up to the RSI line. Once it does, though, that's where I'm going to be looking to sell this. Like, it's the same thing I said last week. I said, hey, if this breaks, then I'll be looking for the sell. And if I'm looking for sells on USD Mexican pesos, then my Euro USD buy bias will be that. This is stuff I like to see. This is stuff that I like to see to make me say that, okay, the buy that I got in on Euro USD is probably going to play out. Not like what I saw on USHEF, although I still feel like USHEF is going to fall. But I like seeing this USD Mexican peso because this is going to probably give me an opportunity to sell. 4 hour time frame, it's already like, well, dang, this buy was actually, it would have been a little no. This buy would have been actually nice because the way how the level pro was, I would have taken that, man. But anyways, called for a sell right here. I would not get into the sell right here. Waiting for that bounce of the RSI line would be the best bet, in my opinion. 1 hour time frame is starting to set up for a buy opportunity, so we might be seeing a retracement. So arbitrage users, be paying attention to this. This you might want to pay attention to tonight. Might be a good play. Ooh. Might be a good play to the upside. I don't know why I keep saying that my connection is unstable. Or is it? Let me see. Yeah, it's kind of weird how I'm saying my connection is unstable, but YouTube is like kind of showing this pretty nicely. So that is what I want to see on the tacos. Now let's go to everyone's favorite pair. Gold. Mr. Goldilocks. All right, first of all, let me get rid of this text. I had already talked about USD Mexican with one of our students, but let's see what we have over here. Get rid of all this stuff. Oops. All right, gold. So gold made big moves last week. Let me even go into the weekly time frame because it would be no good if I didn't. Weekly time frame showed a big wick to the upside, then it showed a big wick to the downside. The wick to the downside is bigger. That is not something that I will want to ignore. And I mean, hey, I can't be fake out here. I have to keep it 1,000, right? I did not see this from this low to this high. Although it's not a fib that I would play, I did not see this at all. I did not see that, hey, there is the 78.6 fib down here, 71%, 61.8. I didn't see any of that stuff on gold on the weekly time frame. Maybe because I didn't want to see it. Who knows? But I did not see that play whatsoever. It was pretty clean. And I mean, at this point, nonetheless, this 23.6 fib that's right here, that still lines up with where I'm looking at gold to go to overall, 1845. So that's even just added confluence for my sells that I'm going to be potentially taking up here. But again, I did not see this at all, and I don't know why I didn't pay attention to it whatsoever. Going on to the daily time frame, I mean, it explains a lot why price bounced off like how it did on FOMC day. That's actually a perfect play, just like how I said what Peyton said. It says FOMC usually it's setting up for how the play is gonna go over the next month type of thing. But anyways, after that big move to the upside and after breaking all these equal lows and after breaking these equal lows right here and then these equal highs, I really want to see price come and make a retracement back down over here to 1770, right? If I can get that retracement back down to 1770, that's where I'm going to be like, okay, yes, I'm going to be looking to take my buys up to 1845. the highest, right? Because again, 1845 overall in a higher time frame scale, that's where I'm going to be looking for gold to really sell and possibly make lower lows or come back down to these equal lows. I doubt it's going to come back down to those equal lows. If it does drop down here, it's going to continue falling. But that's just my opinion on gold. Going on to the lower time frames, before price coming down here happens, I mean, price can just like literally shoot down right here right now, but right now it's over this 50 EMA. I would say that, hey, maybe something like this is gonna happen before price ends up dropping. Retracement back up to like 1808 and then push to the downside. That's probably what might happen before we get that downside push. But as of right now, that's the only way how I could play this gold. So I'm gonna definitely draw this zone out right here. I'm gonna be watching for those buys on gold. So I'm gonna set an alert here as well on 1770.421. No, let me put it up a little higher. There you go. At 1770, 1771 is fine. How about that? Okay, and then I'm gonna set an alert. Create. So once price gets there, it'll notify me on the phone and tell me, hey, you might want to try to look for buy opportunities here on gold. You've planned it out. This is what you were looking for. And seeing a big move like this, especially off of FOMC, because again, just like I always said last week, FOMC is one of those. If FOMC is that guy, like that's one of those news events that I'm gonna be watching. Like, yo, you might want to be careful. You might not want to trade that because it's gonna make a big splash. Oops. Let me go on over to arbitrage with gold. 1 hour time frame is setting up for a sell opportunity. Arbitrage users, you might want to pay attention to that. Nothing is really confirmed on the Level Pro or the Arbitrage Z, so you might want to be careful with that. 4 hour time frame did call for a buy, but again, a retracement to this RSI line would not be terrible, to say the least. And on the daily time frame, price has been rejecting off of this RSI line, and it just came up and with that upper danger zone. So push to the downside wouldn't be that terrible, like at all. The weekly time frame, it's still underneath the RSI line again, so sells don't look bad on gold right now. Like, no cap, I do not mind looking for sells on gold. And I mean, the lowest that I'll take them at this point would be over here to 1771. But I mean, price could even drop lower than that possibly, because some of the higher time frames, the only time frame that I really consider on the higher time frames is the 4 hour time frame. That's the only one that's calling for a potential like retracement for a buy. And I mean, it's not a bad look. Still want to see gold end up falling to the downside before I look to buy it over here at 1770. So we'll see what happens. Oops. All right, let's go ahead and look at these indices, man. Last week, this is what S&P did. I did not look at the S&P at the indices last week at all, but man, this thing went hammer to the downside. If you ask me, after making just like after I said, hey, I might not be looking for sales over here, yada yada, just all that jibber jabber what I was talking about. Wait, was that day? I don't think it was. Never mind. Hold on. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had said I didn't want to look for sales over here. Price dropped. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. Price had dropped down. I said I wouldn't look for sales here. I would look for buys down here and stuff like that. But anyways, man. S&P, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't necessarily try to go up against this sell right now. But remember what I do usually say, these things are built to buy. It's better to look for buys on them than looking for sell opportunities. And if I were to look for a buy opportunity on S&P at this point in time, it would be anywhere between 4592.9 and 4548. This is what I'd be looking for on the more recent time frame, or not even the most recent time frame, but just in the most recent like point of view right here. But overall, if I were to look for like really big buy opportunities on S&P, then if it's really gonna fall like that, I would want to probably look for buys still here at 4413. No cap. That's the reason why I still have that marked off, because if this thing falls to down here, that would be my like a big buy area for me. And again, with the S&P, with the US 30, NAS 100, I'd rather look for buying opportunities than selling any day of the week. So if I see the buy opportunities, I'm gonna wait for those rather than try to jump in and sell or anything like that. So gonna push this over here so that I can delete this fib. And so there we have it. So that's what I'm looking for on, get out of here, on S&P at this point. Like I said, hey, for it to be dropping like that, if you go into the weekly time frame and you take a look at it, it looks pretty scary, right? Like it may be making that double top to push the downside. But again, when it comes to these US indices, can't trust them like that. I mean, bullish engulfing candle right at that high. It's kind of interesting, but still, these things are built to buy. So I'll be looking for buys either here or buys down here. Just in general, right? I'm not really looking for any opportunities at this point in time. US 30, man, from when I had mentioned these buys down over here, price has just been consolidating. I feel like the S&P, that's what dropped more than US 30, which that usually doesn't happen. It's usually the other way around, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, you guys know that I usually say, hey, right here at the 23.6 Fibonacci zone, that's where I'll be looking for price to potentially turn around, and that's exactly what US 30s actually did. It came up over here at the 23.6 fib, rejected, consolidated all in between here, and rejected off of the 78.6 two times, and then ended up falling pretty nicely. So I mean, at this point in time, I think we all know what I'm going to probably be looking for. 34581, just from this previous bullish move. Where is it? To these it's not a higher high by any means. It's not an equal high by any means. This would be the lower high, though, no matter what. From lower high, I mean higher low, higher high, higher low. If it made a higher high, this would be the higher low. But price coming down to 34636 isn't a bad idea. Like, that actually looks pretty solid to me. If price comes down there, I would look for an opportunity to buy it, no lie. But again, if it is going to fall, just like with S&P, if it is going to fall, I think that a decent area for me to look for buys might be, I mean, over here is cool and everything, but price had already basically done that, like over here at the 71% fib, right? So I would kind of want to say, hey, maybe it'd be good to look for price to come down to like maybe 32,300, maybe even possibly something higher than that, like coming up over here at like 33,800, 33,386. There's a lot of different possible buy areas for US 30, because I mean, again, it's just so bullish. And I mean, with these things, you just want to look for buy opportunities more times than not. This was when COVID happened and stuff like that, and price bounced back and went even more bonkers. So again, when it comes to US 30, I would just look for buy opportunities, and 34648 doesn't look like a bad buy opportunity to me. So once it gets there and it gives me an alert, then I'll talk about that more. But until then, I'm just gonna leave this alone and let it do its thing. Going on to arbitrage. Let me go on to S&P first. weekly time frame, extremely bullish, but if price were to break below this RSI line, that would change real quick for me. Daily time frame, S&P has been called for the sell, and I mean these are really magenta candles. You don't see magenta candles pop out like that consistently, like that, like back to back to back to back. So buying this might not be a great idea. Looking for buys on this might not be the greatest idea at this point in time, honestly speaking. And I don't say that quite often when it comes to the S&Ps. So yeah, I would definitely, I'm definitely not going to play these indices right now. Like, they look like they're going to, S&P looks like it's going to fall. Like, those magenta candles that pop up, again, they do not appear that quite often. I don't know why I went back over there. US 30, same thing, called for the sell. I mean, I would not have called the sell here, but it came up here, rejected off of the upper danger zone. It's under the RSI line. It's like confirmations are starting to point to the downside. Yeah, these things look like they're gonna fall. So I would personally stay away from them until I get more confirmation that it's gonna possibly buy. Same thing right here. I mean, it's off. It just bounced off of the lower danger zone, but it looks like this might continue to fall. And I mean, 1 hour time frame, it's been bearish, and it did call for a nice sell opportunity right here. Breakout, retest, continuation. Man, I missed that. Dang. And that was on Friday. This would have been a nice sell opportunity. But yeah, that's what I have for the US indices. Let's go on to the crypto. Let's go into the crypto. So, first things first, weekly time frame. I'm going to go ahead and delete all that stuff because I will go ahead and talk about it. Weekly time frame. Price is still above this 50 EMA. Good sign that we are still bullish on it. And hey, this zone that I had, not this zone, but from the low of 39,796, basically 39,800, to where price had made new all-time highs up here at almost $70,000. Price is still holding inside this Fibonacci zone. Price is consolidating, and price did go a little bit under that. I mean, it bounced off of the 50 EMA overall on the weekly. So I'm still pretty optimistic about Bitcoin going bullish. Now, again, like I feel like I'm a broken record because I keep saying this every week. But again, for those who might be seeing on social media that, hey, $100,000 on Bitcoin is going to happen this year, yada yada, by the end of the year it's going to happen. Don't believe the hype, man, because although yes, it is possible, right now it's improbable. It's not likely to happen right now, right? Based off of the charts, we can see, hey, the possibility of price coming up to 87,000 is possible, because we can see that. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some other measures that somebody possibly have used in order to find that $100,000 pricing, but we haven't even passed $70,000 yet. So us not passing through $70,000 yet and then going for $30,000 more, as much as it's the crypto market and anything can happen, it is not probable. And that is what we want to be. We want to find high probabilities, right? That's what it's all about. So I still do like how price is consolidating up inside this buy box of mine. I'm still going to be bullish on Bitcoin. Going down lower to the onto the lower time frames. At first, I was looking for this buy on Bitcoin, where price had made this bullish move to the upside. I said, all right, I'm gonna look for buy opportunities in this area, and I'm gonna place my stop loss underneath. Well, not even underneath, because I said if price gets over here towards that 46,000 area, 46,055 or whatever-ish area, I really did feel like it was going to keep falling. which at the time it did. And so I'm like, hey, right now I'm at the market, right? Like, I was glad that I put my stop loss right there instead of right beneath these lows. Oh wait, did I? No, I definitely would have. Put my stop loss right here. I think it was down here. I'm not 100% sure, but I just know that my stop loss was going to get hit. But just like how I usually say, one of two things happens when my stop loss gets hit. One, if my stop loss gets hit like that, it's going to end up just keep falling to the downside. Or two, it's going to be a stop hunt and it's eventually going to keep pushing to the upside. Right? So, if you go on a little lower, if you go on to the lower time frames, let me delete this right here real quick. See that price made like a double bottom down there, then pushed to the upside, broke through these previous lower lows, eventually with this bullish move to the upside, came back down, made equal lows right here. Price is still consolidating, right? It's basically still consolidating inside of this zone. But overall, like I said, on the weekly time frame, it's still in an area where I'm highly anticipating buys to kick in. Like if I'm really highly anticipating buys to kick in, it's in this area. So I'm still pretty much bullish on Bitcoin, and I like the price action that price is making right now. If I go onto the 4-hour time frame, and I mean this is what I was looking for, but I don't think price gave it to me. And if it did, it did. Shout out to Bitcoin. So I had said, hey, I was looking for price. Let me go into the 1-hour time frame. It's much more easier to see that I wanted price to go. It's made that bullish move. I wanted it to retrace and come over here to this 71% fib. I'm in that. I am pretty sure I'm in that, and I'm glad I set the buy limit. And I was saying, hey, I want to see price come over here to like 46,300 or 46,400, whatever you want to call it. And I want to see price go to the upside, right? Stop loss beneath these lows. If price comes beneath these lows, then more likely than not, we're going to be seeing price go on down to $40,000. Because, or not even $40,000, $42,000, sorry, because from this low of this long wick to these highs, 42,000, or not even like 42,000 would be all the way down to those equal lows. I would say more of 44,000 or 45,000, like 45,000 square would be like where I'd be like, okay, yes, this is where I'm going to be looking for buy opportunities. Because to say that Bitcoin is going to come down over here again, it's possible, but price already came and hit this 61.8 fib from this low where price had consolidated back in, like when price had made that drop in May and consolidated down here, did a very nice Wyckoff accumulation before taking off. It doesn't really need to come back down. It doesn't need to come back down to 40,000. It could. I'm not taking that probability away, because you never want to take any type of probability away from Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin. Or the crypto market in general. But overall, the probability of price going to those lows is not that high. So, like I said, I am still very much bullish on these cryptos. I have a swing trade idea that I had mentioned that I said, hey, 78.6 right here, or the 71%, or the 61.8. Those are buying opportunities. That's my general buying opportunity areas. If I'm going to be buying for the long term, that would be where you would want to do it. So take advantage of Bitcoin while it's down here, because what happens if next year you see it and it's back up over here at 62,000? Now, if I'm talking about like buying long term, buying long term, it would right now, these prices wouldn't be such a bad thing. But anyways, let's go over to arbitrage on Bitcoin weekly time frame. We're starting to have price closed underneath the RSI line. but there are no clear signs that this is calling for sales yet, so there's no need to panic quite yet. I would probably say in the next 2 weeks, get back to me with that question. I like how price has just been consolidating down over here. Sorry, my head is itching. I like how price has been consolidating at this second deviation. You can barely see it, but I have it like that for a reason. I like how price is just chilling right there. I would want to see it turn around, go bullish. Overall, for me to be really safe with saying, okay, yes, Bitcoin's going to call for a buy, is if price breaks out of that RSI line, retraces, and then continues. 4 hour time frame, it's trying to get set for a buy opportunity, but it's not there yet, right? Nothing's confirmed yet. Level Pro, Arbitrage Z, price isn't even above the RSI line yet, so it's not quite confirmed yet. 1 hour time frame, same thing. Price had called for a sell 2 hours ago, but price has just been consolidating, so the buys aren't confirmed yet. I mean, Level Pro and Arbitrage Z, they are above ground zero, so I would not be surprised if we see Bitcoin continue going bullish by any means necessary, especially with me getting this entry over here like I mentioned. Yeah. If you know, you know. The group chats, I had sent those in. If you know, you know. But so yeah, let's see what goes on with Biddy. Let's see what goes on with Biddy. Ethereum, I'm still in here like swimwear. There is a lot of charting on here, but I want to talk about this daily before I go on over here into the smaller time frames. But yeah, Ethereum. So from my point of view at this point, price really did come over here to the 61.8 fib and left that wick and pushed to the upside. I really do feel like price is going to just continue going to the upside at this point. If it doesn't, then I would actually be kind of surprised. Coming a little closer in, the reason why I said that I would be kind of surprised is because same thing. Oops, let me get rid of this right here. Same thing happened where after this wick, I had wanted the retracement to the downside. I was really patient with Ethereum. I waited and waited and said I'm gonna wait until price comes back down here. All week last week, price dropped down, came over to the 78.6, came a little lower than that, but then broke out to the upside, breaking out of this falling wedge that was here. Let me draw out the bottom part of it. I'm telling you, I was really patient with ETH. I was gonna pull the trigger so many times, but I'm like, I'm just gonna be patient. And then got the breakout to the upside. I said I want the retracement. I'll get in at 3780. Price came down, set my buy limit. I had said I'm gonna get up the trade partially down here. Price went bullish, and I had mentioned, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead, and if price comes back down here, I'm gonna get in a second entry. And price did just that, came in here for a second entry for me, and it hasn't looked back quite yet, and I do expect this to continue to make higher highs for me. That'd be awesome. Let me get rid of that right there. But yeah, I'm pretty optimistic on Ethereum going bullish and continuing to make that move to the upside. I might take profits over here at 4,400. I might leave a small position running just for running's sake and make some money off of that if Ethereum is going to make new all-time highs, right? Going on over to arbitrage, weekly time frame. Never called for sales. Sales aren't looking like they're going to be present quite yet. Daily time frame did call for a sell. Price is rejecting off of this. Is currently rejecting off of this lower danger zone. I like to see that because I use the lower danger zone as support and upper danger zone as resistance, if you will. Still will want to see price break out above this RSI line. That would make me feel so much safer for me to look for buy, for me to say, hey, yes, I am definitely bullish on Ethereum. I mean, my technical analysis, I'm definitely bullish, but daily time frame wise, not so much. 4-hour time frame, arbitrage users, those in the crypto channel, you guys know that I've been talking about this over the weekend. I'm like, hey, I'm still pretty bullish on Ethereum. Level Pro isn't quite there yet, but it's gonna be very shortly. Arbitrage Z isn't above ground zero, but it's gonna be there very shortly. But Level Pro is, so I'm still bullish on ETH. 1 hour time frame called for a sell, but I wasn't. This is consolidating, so I wasn't really paying too much attention to the 1 hour time frame. But I do want to see this continue going bullish. So that is for Ethereum. I'm not going to talk a lot about Ripple because it's literally the same as what I've been talking about for like the past 2 weeks, like from when I had mentioned it down back over here on the 6th of December or like around that time. I'm still looking for buys here. Nothing's changed in my opinion. This trade for me has been running for like 2 weeks now, and it's been just kind of irritating, but it's making its moves it's making its way to the upside, so I can't complain. And same thing with Ripple. I mean, guys, if you want to get into this XRP USD, I do want to see $1.20 get hit eventually. It's just that when this thing consolidates, it consolidates for so long sometimes that you might even want to forget about the whole trade, and then come back to it like weeks later and be like, oh, well, damn. But I am definitely in all three of those. I'm not going to lie to anybody. So Ripple, looking at it on RB, 1 hour time frame, bullish. 4 hour time frame, bullish. I should probably take some partial profits, but I'm not, because I've been in this trade for like 2 weeks now. Daily time frame still has a long way to go before it looks for a breakout, but the daily looks much better than how a lot of the other like Bitcoin and Ethereum, the daily looks very good on this. I'm not gonna lie to anybody. So that's for the cryptos. Let's go on over to the GUP pairs, and then I'll be done. GU, man, talk about PU. No, I'm joking. I've wanted to say that for such a long time. But anyways, like I had mentioned last week, I had talked about GU display, like, oh, the breakout, the retracement price, it can just bounce off from 1.3200. All targets had been hit off of that falling wedge pattern. That was pretty solid. Faked out a couple the first time down, but it still went bullish. At this point, I kind of want to go over the weekly time frame to see what it's looking like. What time is it? 7:17. Okay. Weekly time frame. This candlestick is not telling me that this thing wants to sell. I mean, this thing wants to buy. Realistically speaking, it is not telling me GU wants to buy. So that's kind of iffy for me. Daily time frame as well, bearish engulfing candle after leaving a wick like that to the upside. This as well is kind of iffy to me, but I cannot deny the fact that price did break through some lower highs down over here on the 4 hour time frame. So with that being said, I kind of have to say, hey, at this point, just like with the other USD pairs, this fib on the lower time frame, if there was any place that if I'm going to buy GU, it's gonna be here. You know, if there's any place that I would buy GU, it would be here at this zone, and I would probably, nope, I'm not gonna do it. My stop loss would have to be below this wick, so 1.31570 wouldn't be such a bad stop loss area for this trade. And it's the same thing like how I said last week, guys. This huge demand zone right here on GU, where demand had kicked in back in November. Back in November of 2020, price is coming right back into that demand zone. If these are areas where I would be looking for buy opportunities on GU, especially after it's been dropping for quite some time now. Like, it's not a bad possibility. It's just that, again, I have EU over here, that's a good play. AU over there is a good play. Gold is possibly a good sell opportunity. I'll be out very shortly. Okay. GU is looking like a good possibility as well, but it's for those who don't like. You want to pick which ones that you want to stick with. You want to pick the ones that look like a good high opportunity possibility for you. You know. Sorry for the noise, guys. I do apologize, and it's all right, baby. No worries. It's that the freezer is up in the office, and so she's like, I'm gonna need something in there real quick for some food. But yeah, all done. There you go. You even got the sorry from wifey. But yeah, so GU weekly time frame looks a little iffy. Daily time frame, same thing. It's not bullish quite yet. 4-hour time frame, it's probably not going to be looking that great for buys. I do like, however, it's rejecting off of that lower danger zone. So the move to the upside definitely can happen. It's just not pretty on the bands right now. You know, the bands are not looking the greatest on it. And 1-hour time frame, definitely very bearish. So be careful. But again, if I were to buy this would be an area where I'd be looking for buys. Okay. GBP AUD. Ooh, man. Okay, so this has already been hit for TP1. That's cool. I'm going to leave that other one down there. Off of this swing, 220 pips have moved in general. Okay, so what I'm looking at for GA, delete all this stuff over here first. I was saying last week that, hey, after this bearish move that price had made, after after faking out this supply zone, going a little bit higher than dropping to the downside, I was saying that at this point I want to see price come back into the supply zone up to like 1.87630-ish, and then I'll be looking for selling opportunities, right? And in my opinion, especially the way how AUD USD looks, because, and I'm gonna go ahead and just show that right here. Where's the compare tool? AUD USD. More times than not, when AUD USD is bearish, GBP-AUD is going to be bullish. And when GBP-AUD is bearish, AUD-USD is going to go bullish. So if I'm looking for AUD-USD right now to fall, I'm kind of looking for this GBP-AUD pair to fall as well. I mean, I'm looking for, if AUD-USD, I'm looking for it to buy, then I'm kind of looking for GBP-AUD to fall, right? Go ahead and take that off. Although, yes, I am still looking for this possibility. I'm not taking this possibility away by any means. 1.87629. However, let me put this up here. On the 1-hour time frame, if I go down over here to GA, from this high to this low, price did climb up a little bit and did a fake out of this zone, but now it's holding at this inside this sell box of mine, like where I'd be looking for sell opportunities. So not necessarily saying that I will call for a sell, but I do believe Mike, he had called this for a sell on GA last week. I would still hold those sells. I'm in it. I mean, he called it, and I trust his analysis based off of what he looks at the market differently than how I do, but I do see the sell opportunity as well. That's the reason why I took it. And, you know, I do want to see if this is going to push to the downside. But again, the possibility of price coming back up to 1.87626, it exists. So that is what I'm going to be watching for on GA. Going on over to arbitrage, weekly time frame is holding right here at the upper danger zone. I like to see that a lot. Definitely like to see that. for a possible bearish move. All I want to see at this point now is really that breakout to the downside of this RSI line, like boom, boom, boom. That would be an amazing sell on GA. Daily time frame, it had called for a buy right here. Price had basically already made its move. I just want to see this fall at this point, basically. 4-hour time frame might be calling for, might be calling for a buy. And I do kind of see an inverted head and shoulders pattern now that I'm really looking at this. I need to fix that. There we go, I think. Anyways, left shoulder right here, head, right shoulder over here. Like, the possibility of price going bullish does exist, but I'm not here for it, basically. I want to see this push to the downside. 1 hour time frame is almost setting up for a buy. It's rejecting off of that upper danger zone. So, yeah. I mean, if price breaks through these equal highs, then yeah, it's just probably going to end up going to where I 1.87626, but I do want to see this push to the downside. Okay, let's go on over to GBP JPY, and if you have any pairs that you want me to take a look at, I will start. I would encourage you to start asking that now, so that by the time I'm done with my own personal list, that you can take a look at it as well. I mean, I could take a look at whatever pair you want me to look at as well. So, weekly time frame on GBP JPY. This wick is not telling me that price wants to go bullish, right? That's the same thing as with GBP USD. This wick is not necessarily telling me that price wants to go bullish. It's more like, I kind of want to go bearish. Price is still currently over the 50 EMA, so that is something to watch out for. And there is this zone. Oops. There is this zone that price has that I'm definitely going to have to be watching for. But I know, again, like, it's not necessarily, price doesn't necessarily look like it wants to sell from a weekly point of view. Daily time frame, price leaving a wick right at that 50 EMA as well. Not necessarily the greatest sign that price wants to continue, price wants to go bullish, right? Even from this high and this low, the Fibonacci retracement, price wicked that 61.8 pretty nicely. And it's, I mean, yes, if I were to look for buy opportunities, this would be where it would be at. Same thing as with GU, but it's not looking like this wants to push to the upside at this point in time, right? Whole lot of consolidating though. I mean, the one thing that I will give this though is that it was in a falling wedge, and then it did break out to the upside. I mean, it's not the greatest looking one, but it did break out to the upside. It is retracing to the back to the downside. I mean, again, if I were to buy this, it would kind of have to be now, and it would be a swing play. Like, there's a lot of setups that I have. Not now. I probably would want to wait for 150.050 or something like that. But there are a lot of plays that I could potentially play off of. But just the way how the weekly and the daily looks for GJ, it's kind of scary to me to try to possibly buy it, you know. So GJ is probably going to be one of those pairs I'm just going to be looking at this week. Depending on what it does over here, will make my decision on if I do try to get into a buy opportunity or not. But I'm just going to be watching it personally. I forgot, like I said, I'm in this trade with Mike. This GU, I have it green just because I said if I were to buy it, that's where I would buy it at. So, last but not least, oh wait, before I go continue with GJ, my stop loss got hit on break even on this trade. Okay, it's okay. I took like 2 tick profits. Wait a minute, I planned this. Oh man, see, this is what happens when I don't look at arbitrage and, like, I get surprised by stuff, but then I'm like, well, you kind of actually already planned this. So I was already saying that, hey, after the price made this drop and it called for this sell, what do I usually say? I want the retest of that RSI line, and then for price to continue to the downside. I mean, that's kind of what it's doing. This magenta candle, it is pretty magenta. Like, price pushing to the downside, it does not, it, like, daily time frame, wick off of that RSI line. Yeah, there's a lot of signs that are saying this is going to push to the downside. I'm definitely not going to call a sell on this. I'm going to buy on this. 1 hour time, everything is bearish on this. So I'll watch it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to keep falling. I have a feeling. Last but not least, Euro GBP. This has been an interesting pair, to say the least. I've been waiting for it to break out to the upside for such a long time. It has not. In fact, all it did was really just, I had talked about this last week as well. I believe price from this high pushed to the downside, made a lower low right here, retraced, rejected off of that 78.6 fib, or very close to it. I think it came very close to it, and then ended up falling, almost came to the 23.6, but nonetheless, I would recommend anybody, if they would have taken this type of trade and they were in a sell, I would say, hey, have your stop loss at break even. But I mean, at this point, what I kind of wanted to see, let me remove that, from this low, I really wanted to see price come a little lower. If the price would have came to 0.84457, I would have been so here for the buys. Because again, the way how GJ looks, the way how GU looks, I'm bearish on GA. The GPs might be looking to make a push to the downside. And if that happens, Euro GP is more than likely going to buy. And it's been such a long time since I've been saying, hey, these buy opportunities, they might happen, but I need a breakout to the upside first. So we'll see what happens with EG. But overall, again, 0.84450 would be where I would want it to come down to before I look for buys. Daily time frame as well is just iffy. It's consolidating a lot. Weekly time frame, I've been talking about how this thing has been rejecting off of this zone for weeks, but it's either A, gonna fall, which I don't want it to, or B, it's gonna break out to the upside. And then when it breaks out, retest, call for that buy. I'm in there like I'm in there like swimwear. 4 hour time frame, I called for the sell. It's no bueno right now. And the 1 hour is just kind of sloppy because, again, price is just consolidating. So EG, I really don't have much to say. I mean, it kind of looks like a head and shoulders, looking at it from this point of view. Inverted. Left shoulder right here. The head. The right shoulder right here. Could very well be an inverted head and shoulders. So we'll see what happens with EG. If I'm more bullish on EG than I am bullish on GJ. So if that tells you anything, I hope that it tells you that if I were to take a trade, it would be the buy on EG rather than the sell. Rather than the buy on GJ. So with that being said, is there any questions, guys? Is there any questions whatsoever? Again, remember what I said at the beginning of the analysis. I said, hey, there's nothing wrong with you taking a break from the charts, stepping away and figuring out what your plan is going to be for the next year or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. All right, well, if that is the case, I'm going to go ahead and skedaddle and get up out of here. Ooh, I got a good opportunity on that now. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Hope everybody has a good rest of their week, and let's make some money out here. Later, y'all.